Hi, everyone. Today we're talking about achieving an MVP. MVP for minimum viable product. So maybe you're familiar with this term. If you've read anything on product management, you probably are. It's not the newest term. We'll talk about different versions of it today and what that actually means to achieve a minimum viable product. So I'm really excited about this topic. It is a challenge at times to define what is your minimum viable product. But a lot of times you know it when you see it, and you know it when you see the data from your customer's reaction to the product. So I'm excited to cover this topic with you today, and we're going to dive in. So I mentioned there are different types of acronyms here for what is the minimum of your product. So I mentioned MVP. There's MLPs, minimum lovable product. We'll talk about the threshold there to get a product to lovable from viable. And then we'll talk about MRPs, minimum releasable products, another different term out there that's used by some folks that raises the bar maybe even a bit higher on what is minimum. So I'm going to take you through these terms. I'm going to help you understand which ones apply to your company, which ones you need to worry about. But what's important here is to note that no philosophy is perfect. These acronyms are acronyms. Companies are different. There will be times when your MVP is very built out. There will be times where it's very, very minimum for various reasons. Again, you know better than anyone, as we've talked about earlier in this lesson, or earlier in this course. The resources available on your team, the resources available at your company, the stage of your company, all affects which minimum to aim for with your release. So you're going to find the right minimum for the right company at the right product at the right time. It's always going to be a combination of those factors and more that help you define when are we ready to release. So get excited. I'm going to help you figure out which minimum is for you and help you with the tools that you need to decide when you've met that minimum. But first, let's start with a quote. If you're not embarrassed by the first version of your product, you've launched too late. So anyone who's ever read anything that I have written knows I love this quote from Reid Hoffman of LinkedIn and Greylock fame because it says a lot about releasing quickly, right? I talked a lot about speed to value, speed to validate your hypotheses. Those are the most important things. You want to learn if what you're building or what you're on the path of building is valuable. You want to learn, is what I thought true, or is it not true? Is something else true? And you want to learn that very, very quickly. And so what Reid's getting at here is, along that journey, when you're moving quickly and you're trying to validate those hypotheses, there will be certain parts of the product that you're embarrassed about. I wish it looked better, over here. Or I wish we had features 2 and 3 because everyone who uses feature 1 loves it and they want more. So you're going to feel some of those like punches in your gut because you're going to be a little embarrassed that you haven't had the chance to build those things. But that little bit of embarrassment you have is way better of a feeling than building something that is not a fit for a customer, that they don't like, that they don't want to use, which happened a lot in older software development. They'd build for months and months and months. They'd have a release, at the end of the year, and they'd ship the product, and you actually had to physically ship it, right? It wasn't a digital product. It was, a CD that got loaded into someone's computer. And oh my God, we realized they only cared about one of the features, and the other 5 we built, they never used. That's bad. So we'd much rather in today's world ship, one feature that we think is valuable and validate that. And then maybe we learn that one is not valuable. We ship feature 2. We learn feature 2 actually is valuable. And then we build the next version of feature 2. So instead of spending all the time building 5 features, not knowing which ones are going to work until a year later when we send it all, we now learned feature 2 was valuable a lot earlier, and we've already built now the second version of feature 2, and we got more customers. That's the reason why we build Agile. That's the reason why Reid is talking about here. You may be embarrassed by the first version of your product, and if not, you probably waited too long. You probably built too many of those other features that maybe people don't care about. So I know that was a lot of explanation for this quote, but it is one that I really like. It is one that I say a lot, as I do of many of Reid's quotes.